Hey guys, I'm on my way back from Tractor Supply Company right now. Just picked up a new horse stall mat. I recently took one of the horse stall mats from my floor and used that for my platform that I built recently. And so just now picked up a new one to replace that one on the floor. And as I'm driving back, I'm reminded of one of the very first articles I did for Garage Gym DIY, and that is, how do you get the smell out of these things? Because I've literally only been in the car, or the mat's only been in the car for 60 seconds, and the smell emanating in this car right now is absolutely awful. Not a little bit bad, like really, really, really bad. And I'm remembering back to when I first put my mats, first got them. I just want to crack the window just a little bit. When I first got them and put them into the garage, this is just one. The smell of 8 of them at one time was just insane. And so, my wife actually wanted to shut down the whole project at first, or the whole gym, because the smell was so bad. It was like seeping from the garage all the way into our kitchen. And so I knew, though, having done weight room rebuilds and builds before, and putting in a new floor and all kinds of different weight rooms, from smaller facilities to full collegiate weight rooms, that the smell wasn't going to last. And so in this video, what I want to do is I want to share with you a few tips, a few tricks for how you can expedite the process of getting the smell out of these horse stall mats. So I'm going to go ahead and crack the windows right now, start getting the smell out of this car as much as possible, and I'll meet you back in the garage. Now that we're back in the garage, before we get into the tips on how to get the smell out of the mats, I want to touch base really quick on just why do they smell so bad. So the reason horse stall mats smell so bad, or any kind of rubberized flooring, are all made out of recycled rubber. And recycled rubber is basically ground up old tires, and then they glue them together with urethane, and that's where the smell comes from. So the thought may be, well, let's not do recycled rubber. Let's get virgin rubber floors. So virgin rubber is basically rubber that has not repurposed, has not been used for something else before. Some of the high-end bumper plates, like USACA bumper plates, are made out of virgin rubber. The problem is there is no gym flooring that is made out of virgin rubber. I imagine the price for that would be absolutely astronomical. And so even the high-end collegiate weight room floors are still made out of recycled rubber. Now, different recycled rubber is different levels of quality, sure, but at the end of the day, they're all made out of recycled rubber. And even those high-end floors that is put into a collegiate weight room is still gonna have a little bit of a smell to them when they're first installed. So now back to the original question of, why do they smell so bad? So within that recycled rubber released what is called VOCs, or volatile organic compounds. Now, I am not going to sit here and act like that I am a chemistry expert on volatile organic compounds, but basically those are released by the mat, and that is basically what causes the smell that's associated with it. And so what we need to do is we need to expedite the release of those volatile organic compounds to get that smell out of the mat, because when they're sitting at Tractor Supply Company, they're just sitting in a giant stack of mats. And so they're sitting one right on top of the other, right on top of the other, right on top of the other. So those organic compounds don't get a chance to release out of the mat. And so basically our tips and tricks is going to be to, how can we expedite this process? And so let's get straight into tip number 1. Tip number 1, open your garage doors. This is really the easiest and one of the most effective ways to start to get the smell out of your horse stall mats, and especially get the smell out of your garage. Airflow right now is your absolute best friend. So open your garage doors. When I first brought in my full set of mats, I actually would wake up in the morning, open both of my garage doors, and they would stay open until literally before I went to bed. Essentially what you're trying to do is prevent the buildup of those compounds that we talked about earlier. So as they're being released, you're giving them some place to go. This leads me right into tip number 2. Take your mats outside. And so by taking your mats outside, not only are you going to achieve maximum airflow, but also you're going to bring the sun into play. And so by getting sun and sunlight and heat into the mat, you're actually going to expedite the release of those compounds. When those compounds get heated up it opens up the pores in the mats, and it actually is going to release those compounds even quicker. So basically you just, instead of it taking, you know, a week or 2 weeks to get the smell out of the mats, it could bring it down and cut that process in half. So especially if your garage gym is not actually in your garage, but maybe it's in your basement or maybe it's in another room in your house, and you can't just open 2 garage doors and get a ton of airflow there, would absolutely recommend taking those mats, taking them outside, letting them sit in the sun for even a couple days, maybe even 3, 4, 5 days to help expedite that process and get the smell out of the mats. So in terms of actual effectiveness, those are the 2 tips that you're really going to want to focus on. Get airflow to your mats, and if at all possible, get them out into the sunshine. Those 2 things right there are going to create the most benefit of any of the tips that are going to be in this video. But a couple other smaller tips that may help a little bit is go ahead and wipe down your mats every day. Now, how much this actually helps is kind of debatable, but at least it's going to let you feel like you're doing something proactively to get the smell out of the mat. So just take a simple cleaning mixture and wipe down your mats once a day for the first week that you have them in. And if nothing else, it'll make you feel a little bit better that you're actually doing something proactively to get the smell out of your mats. And my final tip when it comes to getting the smell out of your horse stall mats is just have patience. I know that's not an easy thing to hear always, especially when your entire garage and even the entire half of your house has this awful smell permeating through it, but just have a little bit of patience. The smell is not going to last. I've read horror stories online of people saying that it took months for the smell to get out of their mat, or the smells never got out of their mats. That's just not been my experience. Give it a week, give it 2 weeks. For me, the first 3 days, it was bad. And then the 4th day, it got a little better. And then the 5th day, it got a little better. And then after about a week, that smell was basically gone. Any gym that you walk into, there's going to be that hint of that rubber flooring smell, kind of even if it's just faintly in the background. And so there will always be that, but this overwhelming smell, trust me, it's not going to last. It's going to go away. Just give it a little bit of time, have a little bit of patience, and that's it. Those are my tips for how to get the smell out of your horse stall mats. The only thing I would leave you with is this. If you watch this video, it's probably because you are freaking out, because you got your mats home, and the smell is just unbearable. Like I said before, go through these tips, have a little bit of patience, give it a little bit of time, and you're gonna be just fine. If this video helped you out a little bit, do me a huge favor, go down and hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.